He wandered helplessly here and there for 4 hours straight until the timer ran out. As soon as his penalty time was up, he got teleported into his hospital room. The blue screen flashes to inform him that the reward for completing penalty quest has arrived. The nurses in the hospital began discussing about Sung Jinwoo as they found it strange that even though he has been awake for only few days and he has been running and working out every day. Since Sung is a hunter, he is different from ordinary people as he has abnormal healing ability. He has been working out for past 4 days and he realized that the blue screen in front of his eyes isn't his dream or an illusion. He continuously gets rewarded for completing the daily quest. He received a condition recovery reward which, in an instant, took away all of his fatigue from exercising. Beside the recovery, he has been rewarded with increment in the ability point and a random box item. The ability points can be distributed among his abilities however he wants. He is being completely controlled by this game. He heads towards the Hapjeong station to figure out the use of the key he got from the daily quest. In the description, it has been stated that the key allows him to enter an instance dungeon that can be used at the Hapjeong underground metro station. All these quest statuses rewards in these weird game he is seeing might be because he has been reawakened or just a part of the process of it. He feels that the reawakened one being the weakest soldier on earth would be laughable, so he decided to give it a try. If he gets in danger, he is so confident that he will be able to escape. He used the key to get inside the dungeon and as soon as he entered, the gate of the dungeon closed. He entered into a different dimension. A notification popped up that he can't escape the dungeon until and unless he killed the dungeon boss. He feels as though few days ago he struggled to fight even with a rank monster and now, he has to clear an entire dungeon by himself, which seems to be an almost impossible task. He goes further inside the dungeon to investigate the place. As he heads inside, he hears growling sounds of the beast and feels less and less confident in himself. As he was analyzing the dungeon, a beast attacks him out of nowhere. He feels helpless as earlier 1 or 2 goblins were hard enough for him. He doubts himself if he can actually win against this beast. His legs were giving up on him and were not moving due to his fear. Since he doesn't have any healer, he couldn't afford to get hurt in this raid. The monster straight on attacked him, but he barely managed to dodge its attack. A few centimeters close and the monster would ripped his head off his body. As he was dodging the attack, he feels as though his body has been light. He decides to fight back as he thinks that he has got a second chance in life and he won't give up so easily. He punched the beast right on his face and he flew away into a concrete wall. After seeing the damage he has inflicted upon the beast, he realizes that his strength might have increased from before, still the big monster was much stronger than he was. After attacking few times with his fist, he realizes that monsters aren't affected by normal attacks. After feeling helpless, he ran here and there but ended up getting hurt. He asks himself if he is capable of beating the big monster and what does he have with him to beat it. Weapon possess magic power and only if he had a weapon, then he realizes that he can access to the inventory at any time. He pulls out a sword from thin air and sliced the beast. The blade originally belonged to Mr. Kim Sang, which got left out inside the double dungeon. With a slice from the sword, the beast was split up into 2 and was defeated. A notification popped up that he has leveled up. Since he has a weapon now, he isn't afraid anymore. From the corner of his eyes he saw 2 beasts roaming around him. He attempted to raise the sword, but his sword got stuck in the concrete. With much force, he pulled out the sword and aimed right at the beasts. Unlike the first time, one of the beasts grabbed the sword by its steel fang mouth. He sets the sword free from its mouth and attacked the beast once again. This time, the sword detaches the beast's head from its body. As he is fighting with these monsters, he realizes that they are nothing as compared to those stone statue monster he fought before. As he leveled up before, all of his stat increased by 1. While the daily quest gave him a total of 3 points, leveling up gave him a total of 5 points. So, he feels as though hunting monsters and leveling up is more efficient than doing the daily quest. All his intelligence, sense, experience, strength, agility and viability are expressed in numbers. By defeating those monsters, his strength rapidly increased by 10 and he can feel those improvements inside his body. He went near the body of the beast thinking that they might drop magical cores like the beast he defeated before. Since these monsters didn't drop any magical core, he feels that these monsters were different from and are a part of the game. Since, after the incident that happened at the double dungeon, Sun has been controlled by the game system and these dungeons and monster might be a part of it too. And instead of dropping magic core, they drop items such as Raiken's Fawn, which can either kept in the inventory or can be sold in the store. There is a store inside the dungeon, and while he tried to buy any item, it indicated that his level isn't high enough to buy anything from the store. He further sold his Raiken's Fawn for 20 gold. Since it's his first item selling item with golds, he isn't quite sure how much these 20 golds are worth. And also this dungeon is an E-rank dungeon, the item collected from these dungeons aren't worth much. Since he doesn't have a return crystal, he can't escape this dungeon without killing the boss monster. So, before he goes out of energy to fight, he decides to go in search for the boss monster. Even though the boss monster is an E-rank monster, he doesn't have experience in defeating any of the boss monster before. Although it is quite difficult for him, he doesn't give up as he has leveled up a lot even after entering this dungeon. A herd of the monsters appeared in front of him. He is ready to fight them as he feels as though he has nothing to lose since he had already died once. He sliced his way through by defeating them all one by one. As he sliced the monster one by one, he begins leveling up. If he can become stronger by following the system, he is ready to follow all the rules of this game. As he managed to defeat some monsters, more and more of those beasts began to surround him. He sighed, lifted his sword and chopped each and every beast in front of him. He gained a title of Wolf Slayer. After chopping the beast, his blades all dull out, and even if he purchase a new high-grade weapon, it will eventually become like this after he goes through a few dungeons. He thanks the blade for saving his life. After defeating all those wolves, he received 34 wolf fangs, 2 worn daggers, traveler's clothes and heartstone, which was more than he expected to get. Heartstone enables him to escape any dungeon without killing the boss monster. He takes the Heartstone stone and was thinking about leaving but changed his mind as there might not be any other chance to become stronger this easily. Since this dungeon is made by the system, when he uses the stone the dungeon might disappear. The system is controlling his every action, from getting teleported into an entire different dimension to fighting an entire E-rank dungeon on his own. He feels as though he is dancing in the palm of the game, just like Wukong dancing in the palm of Buddha. Advance forward or retreat, he had 2 options and decides to choose the later one. He kept the Heartstone and the inveterate and went forward in search of the boss monster. In his way, he fought with many monsters while constantly leveling up. Every time he levels up, he feels more stronger and the fight with the monsters becomes more easier and easier. The monsters keep respawning unlike the normal dungeon and they do not feel like a living creature. Therefore, fighting with these monsters feels like a game where their patterns are determined. Only if he could learn the patterns and figure out where they're coming from. As he was analyzing the pattern, a monkey from the above and a cat from each side attacked him. He swinged the sword at the monkey and sliced it in one shot. The same thing was repeated with all the others monsters. The name of the last monster he defeated was written in white and the color of the name indicates the strength of the monster. White means it's weak, orange means it's strong and red indicates it's very strong. The monsters which were orange at first, now has become white, which means Sun has become quite strong. Even after defeating all these monsters, he isn't quite sure he can defeat the boss monster down there. Due to his increasing sense stat, he can tell how strong the monster down there is. He heads down the stairs and wonders if it is really Hapjeong Station. In a blink of an eye, the monster attacked him and threw him into the walls. Just by a single attack his sword broke down. The name of the boss monster, Swamp's ruler, Blue Poison Fangs Rasaka, was in orange, which means it is still stronger than Sung even though he has leveled up quite a bit. He asked if it was the boss monster of the dungeon. He analyzed that his sword won't even pierce the scales of the Rasaka, and neither his punch would have any attack on it. The boss monster attacked him again, but this time he was able to defend himself against it. In order to fight with it, he needs a super fast attack which can weaken its defense. The scale seems to a problem as it can neither be pierced nor can it be destroyed. The monster kept on circling him and was waiting for a moment to attack him. It attacks Sung with its scale. If the hard scale of Rasaka hits Sung directly even once, he might die in an instant. He keeps defending himself with the broken sword. Even with his constant effort of defending himself, he got hit by the monster and fell to the ground. He thought he got quite stronger after defeating all those other monsters, but still seems to be lacking against the boss monster. He grabbed the broken sword and wonders how much stronger he really have to get in order to escape from his past as the weakest hunter. He remembers how humiliating it was for him to be called as the world's weakest hunter and how people used to treat him. He got the nickname because he was very weak, but it isn't something he wants to brag about. While he was weak, a pressuring force squeezes his head that can make him yield. He was always looked down due to his weakness, but inside the double dungeon, it was because of him 6 of them were able to escape. The weaks are more likely to get betrayed by their own comrades. Since Sung had once been betrayed by his comrade, now he have to get stronger so that he can save himself from all the monsters. He yelled, "I came here to become stronger," and attacks the boss, but got beaten by it once again. He doesn't give up as he feels as though he have to become more stronger than he is right now. Compared to previous statue monster, compared to the fear he felt during that time, this time he isn't scared at all. As the boss monster attacked Sung, he sliced its mouth open with the broken sword, but this wasn't enough to defeat the monster. He grabbed the monster by its neck with all his raw power, and to the monster's defense, it thrashed Sung against the ceiling. Sung didn't let go of it and crushed its neck with his 2 bare hands and defeated the monster. In the hospital, there is some discussion about Sung as he hadn't returned to the hospital. He has been gone from morning and hasn't returned till the evening. The doctor was worried about Sung as he has barely survived. The doctor finds the hunting job very dangerous and wonders why people still do it. He has seen very serious cases of hunters, covered in blood from head to toe, and still manages to survive. It is said that even the weakest hunters are very strong as compared to the normal human being. Hunters are monsters themselves. As Sung defeated the boss monster, he leveled up quite a bit and received various items such as Rasaka Venom and Rasaka's Fong. Rasaka Venom decreases the opponent's strength by 35 points, while Rasaka's Fong is a type of dagger which has special effects such as paralyze and bleed. Even though his clothes are all dirty, his sword is broken and his body aches, he is quite happy to beat the boss monster and to obtain a better blade than he had before. He received a dagger made up of Fong instead of bones. The new dagger Rasaka's Fong increases his stat more than twice from that of his old dagger, and it also has paralysis and bleed effect as well. Even though this dagger is way powerful, it is a bit awkward to use. For now, he stores the Rasaka's Venom in his inventory. An alarm popped up, the boss has been slain. The dungeon's interior will revert to normal. The interior structure of the dungeon changed and it came back to normal. All the monsters, including the boss monster, disappeared right in front of his eyes. He heads outside the Hapjeong station. While coming out from the station, someone asked him who he was and how did he come out from there. There was a soldier in front of him and apparently there had been a broadcast which Sung wasn't aware about. The soldier, analyzing Sung's broken sword and torn clothes, asked if he was a hunter. After Sung answered him with a yes, the soldier guided him to an open gate from which the monsters seems to have come over to this world. The soldier said that all the other monsters has been taken down except for the boss monster of the dungeon. Due to his strong senses, he could feel the boss monster and he heads towards it. After reaching the site, he saw that many hunters were fighting against the boss monster. The soldiers present in the surrounding asks the people to leave as it might be dangerous. The hunters have been fighting for quite some time, but still they aren't able to defeat the boss monster. Since the monster have caused a lot of damage in the land and buildings, they are worried if the prices of those will go down. The frontline attackers are known as Tank, who seems to have been badly injured in the fight. The healers are trying their best to heal the tanks, but due to the lagging performance of damage dealers, the entire team is suffering. The damage dealer, even though we're trying their best, the big monster wasn't even budging. The difference in their power were truly concerning. The public people were concerned as they were able to beat the boss monster. Since they were called on the short notice, they might be having communication problem. The hunters' ranks are too low to deal with the boss monster. The raid group consists of 8 A ranks, 1 D rank, and the healers are 2 D ranks and 1 B rank. Sun sees the B rank hunter struggling in the battle. The healer was none other than Juhi, and it seems as though she hasn't completely healed from the trauma she received from the raid earlier. Even though Sun also seems to be scared and terrified, he forces himself to overcome it. The boss of the dungeon seems to be D rank, which in comparison to the boss he fought just now is just 1 rank higher. He attacks to weaken its defense so that hunters in raid can defeat it. With a broken sword and his full force, he strikes towards the monster. The hunters in the raid are getting weaker and weaker every second due to the attacks of the boss. They are too weak for the boss monster and hopes a high-rank hunter could join the raid. The healer's magic are also running out, which might be a big trouble for the team. All of the sudden, an attack seems to have worked against the monster. The monster starts collapsing, and using this as an opportunity, they attack it with their full force. And finally the boss monster is lying on the ground defeated. One of Hunter was in disbelief, as a minute ago none of the attacks were working and now the boss monster is defeated. He saw something flew straight into the boss's head and guessed that might be the reason the monster got defeated. He found Sung's broken sword near the boss monster. He was in shock, as how could someone defeat it with a broken sword while their entire team were struggling against it? He asked the nearby soldier about the hunter, and as the soldier was searching for Sung, he had already left the area.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more amazing contents.